Also, somebody who's really close to this particular piece that we're trying to go and decode over the next couple of minutes. Ghulam Jilani, my colleague, he's going to be joining us on Zoom very shortly. But the bigger question for the next 30 odd minutes is going to be right here, the question that's on your screens over here. Will opposition unity last? And we're standing at a very crucial and critical juncture, because today we will dive into the current political landscape and dissect the efforts of the opposition and their bid to forge a united and unified front. We're going to try and unravel the intricate dynamics of the opposition unity as they navigate through challenges and conflicts within their own ranks. The opposition, facing its fair share of disarray, is once again making frantic attempts to foster unity in their pursuit of countering the ruling party, the BJP at the center. However, looming concerns such as the ongoing rift in the NCP and the standoff between the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress over a Delhi ordinance, all of these issues continue to cast doubts on the solidity of their alliances. With the next opposition meeting slated for July 17th and 18th, the question arises, are these gatherings more than just the photo opportunities that we just showed you? The Congress party expresses confidence in its ability to foster opposition unity, while recent events such as the BJP's alleged operations with or against the NCP, many say have strengthened the opposition's resolve. But at the same time, it's important to note that the Patna meeting that was held on the 23rd of last month served as a preparatory stage, with leaders focusing on a joint fight in the upcoming Lok Sabha elections, rather than delving into the intricate details, which, by the way, matter a lot, the intricate details of seat sharing and electoral adjustments. As we navigate through this intricate web of politics, we seek to uncover the truth behind opposition unity. Is it a mere mirage or a tangible force that is gaining momentum? How far can these unity efforts truly succeed? Join us in the comment sections below as we engage in this thought-provoking discussion and ground leaders, the chieftains, to really make a mark in the upcoming 2024 elections. Take a look at this documentary, catch a snippet, understand what we're going to be talking about, and then we'll come back for more.
एक साथ मिलकर हम बीजेपी को हराने जा रहे हैं।
हम लोग मिलकर के चलेंगे और देश के हित में है।
We are united. We will fight unitedly.
इस देश को बचाने के लिए, देश की एकता, अखंडता कायम रखने के लिए हम एक साथ आए हैं।
हमारी कोशिश यही रहेगी कि हम गांधी के मुल्क को गोडसे का मुल्क बनने नहीं देंगे।
In a blow to the opposition unity, the BJP has split open Sharad Pawar's NCP in Maharashtra, with Ajit Pawar and 8 other leaders joining the NDA government. The rift in NCP will weaken the Maha Vikas Aghadi. With 48 Lok Sabha seats, Maharashtra is the most crucial state after UP for both the BJP and the opposition. The opposition, which has been in disarray, is making frantic attempts to foster unity. 32 leaders from 15 political parties met in Patna on June 23rd. Their objective? Put up a united fight against BJP, led by PM Narendra Modi in 2024.
This is the first positive step where these parties met. I think there are a couple of messages from this meeting. The first message is very clear that 2024 election is going to be between two alliances. A BJP-led alliance on the one side, and perhaps an alliance where Congress is going to be the central player of that alliance. The idea of a third front without Congress, without BJP, is not going to sail in this election.
As the BJP hammers home again and again, that politics is not about arithmetic alone, it has need for chemistry. I think it also needs a little bit of physics, but at the end of the day, the maths that you do, just very rough ball figure maths that you do, will show clearly that there isn't any state in which BJP is gaining. They will lose everywhere because they went very high in the previous election, so they have to now drop. And for other reasons, they are going down in many states.
There have been earlier attempts to forge an alliance after 2014 election results. Before 2019, Mamata Banerjee hosted a rally in Kolkata. This rally was attended by at least 20 leaders from different opposition parties. But there was no impact. The BJP won 2019 elections hands down. Between the 1970s and the 1990s, all opposition unity efforts were short-lived. Prime ministerial stints of opposition front governments lasted less than 2 years on an average.
Holding hands together is not opposition unity. The opposition needs organic unity, whereby, which is a far more difficult task, to sit on the drawing board and agree that each party will strengthen and fight unitedly with that party which is strongest in its own region, so as to put up, wherever possible, a joint opposition to the BJP. I don't think the opposition is anywhere close to it now.
पटना में एक फोटो सेशन चल रहा है। सारे विपक्ष के नेता एक मंच पर इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं और संदेश देना चाहते हैं कि हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी को, एनडीए को और मोदी जी को चैलेंज करेंगे।
Well, I thought Amit Shah should worry about photo sessions of his boss, the Prime Minister. I think he spends more time in photo sessions and handshakes and hugs and kisses, etc., than any of these leaders have done. They've just taken a very, very sober, strong view. There were no trumpets there and there were no drum beats, etc., but they have taken a very, very sober, very considered, very thoughtful approach to the problems of the country today.
एक और नरेंद्र मोदी अमेरिकी संसद को संबोधित कर रहे हैं और दूसरी ओर 17-18 दल पटना में इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं मोदी हटाओ देश बचाओ। तो इसलिए देश की जनता देख रही है, एक और नरेंद्र मोदी को देख रही है और दूसरी ओर इन दलों को देख रही है कि ये दल केवल अपने परिवार की चिंता करते हैं जबकि नरेंद्र मोदी देश की चिंता करते हैं।
ये विपक्षी दलों की हरकतों से उनकी घबराहट से साफ है कि देश की जनता ने 2024 के चुनाव में भाजपा को वापस लाने का मन बना लिया है।
So they lack a narrative, they lack a face, they lack an organizational network on the ground, and they lack a pan-Indian joint strategy. Given this, I think the BJP, as it seems now, has an advantage for 2024.
There is a conundrum. First is whether they should even think of a leader. Then the second question is who should be the leader. The reason is, the first question is important because once you put up a face, then BJP will try to make that election presidential. Basically meaning that here is a charismatic, popular leader who has been 10 years of Prime Minister, CM, who's in front of him, right? And so then the context will become between Narendra Modi and say Rahul Gandhi, between Narendra Modi and say Nitish Kumar, whichever name you prop up.
Again, urging all the viewers out there to check out the documentary. That was just a little snippet and pertinent questions that have been asked in that particular documentary. Pankaj, expanding this discussion and also welcoming Ghulam Jilani, the man behind this documentary, this journalistic endeavor, with us here on the broadcast. Very warm welcome to you, Ghulam. Ghulam, I'm going to take a quick question from Pankaj and then come back to pick your brains. Pankaj, some questions that were asked in the documentary, and my first question is going to be two-pronged, so bear with me. First and foremost, how significant are the upcoming opposition meetings that have been scheduled for the 17th and 18th of July? Right. That Patna Parlay is something that you know about. That press conference ended with Rahul Gandhi ki shaadi ki baatein aur hum barati ban ke aayenge, aap shaadi kar lijiye. And the other factor in my question is going to be, What are some of the main challenges and conflicts right now? We know that, I mean, looking at pragmatic situation and the contemporary times, you've got the NCP rift and you've got the Delhi Aam Aadmi Party versus Congress when it comes to the Delhi ordinance. That's at play over here. How are you looking at these two things, the 17th, 18th meeting and the problems and conflicts at hand for the opposition party?
Well, Kabir, see, first things first, opposition parties coming together is not something that the Indian politics would be witnessing for the first time. So, and this is also a fact that there hasn't been even a single day when one political party hasn't had some bones with the other political party. Now, the question is, the fracas between, say, a Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, or what Ajit Pawar has done to the NCP, whether that will impact opposition unity or not. I think in certain ways, yes, it is going to impact the opposition unity. The dynamics could be changed or altered a little bit. But as far as the common fabric, the external fabric is concerned, to my opinion, as of now, these political parties are checking all the boxes that need to be checked in the run-up to the 2024 elections. Yes, there are divisions, but they are not such divisions which the parties can't overlook at a certain
What are
point
these
of
boxes
time.
that you're talking about? In the sense that they're coming together, they're at least started talking about it. Is that what you mean? That the train has finally begun moving, it started moving from the station?
Why I see, because they have, why I say because they have checked all the boxes that as I mentioned earlier, there have been, third fronts, there have been the unison of these parties earlier as well. But even before they could reach the, say, general elections, for the state elections also, they have had divisions earlier. I'm talking about the times of Baspa and Samajwadi Party. I'm talking in times of TMC and, say, TDP and other political parties down south as well. But this time around, irrespective of the alliances and understanding in the states, the focus, although the time is also not much on their side, the focus is on 2024. And this time around also, there are certain glue factors like a Nitish Kumar, like a Sharad Pawar for that matter, with his experience. Lalu Yadav, obviously, and one before we go to Ghulam, one quick word when we mentioned that Lalu Yadav mentioned about Rahul Gandhi ki shadi. See, Kabir, there are so many interpretations being taken of that one statement कि जल्दी राहुल शादी कीजिए तो हम भी बारात बन के आएंगे. Some political pundits actually said that it could mean that Rahul Gandhi, आप Prime Minister बनिए, हम आपका साथ देंगे.
Well, people were saying that, you know, a week before that particular jumla had come about, the BJP had come out saying that, you know, that this is a bin dulhe ki barat. They don't have a dula and they still have a barat that they're talking about. But Ghulam, you know, coming to you, the Congress party has expressed confidence in the fact that it can be the fulcrum of this opposition. On the other hand, take a look at what's happening in Delhi between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress. The Congress has recently sidelined, distanced itself away from K. Chandrasekhar Rao. On the other hand, Akhilesh Yadav, who's always present in these opposition meetings, he has given extended an olive branch to KCR that, you know, how about you come and meet. And KCR has met with Mamta Banerjee. Mamta Banerjee has met with Sharad Pawar over the last year. Let's not forget Pinarayi Vijayan in that mix. And Aam Aadmi Party's bonhomie with the DMK is another thing. So I think there are so many cracks. In terms of cracks or conviction, where are you placed? How are you looking at this?
Thank you, Kabir. Yes, you are absolutely right. You know, while on one side we had a meeting 10 days ago, you know, where all these opposition leaders came on the same table and they discussed opposition unity. They talked about how we have to defeat Modi and BJP in 2024. On the other side, just 10 days away from that meeting, there was what we saw on Sunday, what happened in Maharashtra. You know, there are these, you know, challenges that this opposition unity has been facing. This is not the first time that these challenges have come up. But as one of our, talking heads in the documentary, Mr. Pawan Verma was saying, you know, in Telangana, Congress is fighting KCR, right? His BRS party. In Delhi, Congress has been wiped out literally by not just in Delhi, even in Punjab, by Aam Aadmi Party. If you go down south, you look at Kerala, where Congress is fighting the left. In West Bengal, the Congress is fighting Mamta Banerjee. There are these challenges, obviously, in before we talk about opposition unity, and these challenges are something that have to be addressed before we move ahead. You know, you talk about Congress talking about becoming the nucleus of this opposition unity. True, Congress is upbeat after Karnataka elections. Congress thinks it's a pan-India party and it can only lead the opposition unity. And both of you were talking about this Lalu's comment. This is a very important and very significant comment that Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav had made in the meeting. He talked about, he insisted that Rahul Gandhi should get married and all other leaders can be the Baratis. This comment was perhaps in response to BJP's, if you go to Patna, I was in Patna on the day that meeting happened. Outside JDU and RJD offices, BJP had put up big posters in which there were cartoons, in which all these leaders were being described as Baratis without any, groom. So Lalu's comment is being seen as, political analysts see it as a comment that Rahul Gandhi might as well be the face of the opposition unity. But there are challenges there also. Rahul Gandhi is disqualified from the parliament. Can he be the face of the opposition in 2024? Also the factor that there are these state elections coming up, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. It will also depend on the fact that how Congress will perform in these elections. And if Congress performs well, which is likely, there are reports that it might perform well in Madhya Pradesh, but if it performs well in Rajasthan also, if it does well in Chhattisgarh also, then it will have a, more bargaining power than other parties. It might emerge as nucleus of these parties. But again, on the day of this Patna party, as rightly mentioned, while Kejriwal was there in the meeting with his lieutenant, with his leaders like Sanjay Singh, like Bhagwat Mann, his Punjab chief minister, and also Raghav Chadha. But what we saw in the press conference, while the press conference was on, there was a statement coming out from the Aam Aadmi Party that they can't be part of the alliance unless Congress decides to support it against the ordinance. So these are contradictions which are there, which have to be addressed.
But in terms of the main crux, the question that we're asking here, whether this is a mirage or is this a reality, is this getting somewhere? Ghulam, what's your take on that? I mean, two parties might not see each other eye to eye, but when we're talking about an opposition alliance, I mean, the first episode of this documentary talks about the chieftains and how this is their last chance. Many are going to be willing to sacrifice one or two prestige issues to make sure that they somehow manage to come into power. What's your take on that?
For some leaders like Sharad Pawar or Nitish Kumar or Lalu Prasad Yadav for that matter, it is obviously the last chance. I don't see them being in mainstream politics after 2024. So for Rahul Gandhi, who has been trying in last two elections, and this is another election for him to emerge as the leader of the opposition. So this is the last chance for many of these leaders who are coming together, with joint hands and raising hands against Modi. But again, if you look at the numbers in 2019, opposition parties are saying that the best strategy to fight against Modi and BJP would be fielding a joint candidate. One candidate in each seat against BJP. I mean, one joint candidate of the opposition party. But will that work? If you look at 2019 elections, BJP won 303 seats, right? To be precise. Right. Out of these 303 seats, there were 230 odd seats where BJP won with a vote share of more than 50%. Again, if you look at numbers, there are more than 106 seats across the country where BJP won without any third force. There was no third force aligned with any opposition party. So these numbers, if you talk of numbers in 2019 or 2014 for that matter, so these numbers are not in favor of the opposition unity and it's favoring its strategy of fielding a joint candidate. Apart from the numbers, there are these state contradictions. In each of these states that we mentioned earlier, in Telangana, Congress is now going big against KCR. In Rajasthan, Aam Aadmi Party is saying it will contest all the 200 seats, but Rajasthan is ruled by Congress. How will this opposition unity work there? How will it play out there? In Chhattisgarh, you look at Aam Aadmi Party, it is going big in all the states that are going to polls. Right. I was reading a news report yesterday that Aam Aadmi Party will also contest all seats in Arunachal Pradesh.
Well, it is a national party now. We don't want to dampen their own ambitions. It's a national party now, isn't it?
Obviously, it has national ambitions. So how will this opposition unity play out in these states? Unless you figure out what your strategy is going to be in each of these states where these parties are main stakeholders, main players. I don't think there will be any opposition unity at the center.
Right. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Pertinent points over there. We're playing this particular graphic about what kind of problem against whom, with who all. In Telangana, you've got Congress against the BRS. In West Bengal, you've got the TMC versus the CPI. There you have it. We'll play that right here. In the national capital, you've got Punjab and Delhi. You've got Aam Aadmi Party and Congress fighting amongst themselves. So all of this infighting is already taking place. What, according to you, Pankaj, I mean, are some of the main challenges and conflicts that are hindering this possible bid for fortifying, solidifying opposition unity?
See,
something's clearly out in the open. Something's clearly out in the open. Well, but what other than that?
This time around, as I mentioned also, that the opposition unity this time around is more focused on the 2024 national elections, and all these mentions that we had there on the screen, Kabir, were about the opposition and the way they are placed in the states. Now, the question is, why would political parties give away their enmity in states and then join hands at the center? Now, that's a very pertinent question, as you said. I would say there is a good reason. And this time around, in politics, Kabir, one good reason, despite having no dulha, no face for prime ministerial candidate, the cohesive unit, the cohesion of these political parties could matter, and that one reason is to keep BJP at bay, to keep Prime Minister Modi out of the picture. Now, this is something, if you heard Salman Khurshid...
I was just coming to that. That he was talking about the photo ops and the handshakes.
So now, this time around, the counter. This is not one, when Amit Shah says that there is a photo op going on in Patna, the counter we heard from Salman Khurshid that Prime Minister Modi indulges in photo ops. The counter that BJP has been giving on terms of dynast politics, this particular opposition unity, the conglomerate that you saw, one would say that it is rife of dynast members. It's a classic example of dynastic politics. Now, how are they countering it? They are countering it by two ways. First, they are saying that even BJP has, members and dynastic politics going on there. And secondly, they said that those dynasts who left the Congress, BJP has already accepted them. The washing machine concept is also there. Ajit Pawar, who is Ajit Pawar? Ajit Pawar is the nephew of Sharad Pawar. Now, he wanted to come out of the shadows of Sharad Pawar. He went to the BJP. So, all those things, so it is countering. So, the counter, the national narrative counter that this opposition party is building, Kabir, I think that is more suitable for as far as this alliance is concerned. Yes, there is no face. I agree. So far,
there's a conundrum over there also, no?
See, the conundrum, that part can be arrived at, I would say, because if you have to chase the Himalayas, if you have to scale the Himalayas, you wouldn't be bothering ki upar kitni thand hogi main uske liye. You prepare for that, but then you know that you have enough ammunition for that. That's a decision that has to be taken. But the uphill climb, that has to be taken first. So you have to reach the bridge before you cross it.
Well, absolutely. That's actually a nice way of putting it. Ghulam, trying to understand what your viewpoint on this is. In light of the recent events, something that I asked Pankaj earlier on in the show as well. The recent events, the rift inside the NCP, BJP working with or against the NCP, nobody knows right now. Both parties are trying to stake claim. One sacks 9 MLAs, the other one appoints a new state chief. So we don't really know what's happening over there. In light of these recent events, the operations by the BJP, the recent Aam Aadmi Party versus Congress tussle, do you think the opposition's resolve has been affected more than it has been strengthened? Because the Congress party and KC Venugopal recently said that, our resolve has only been strengthened after the NCP rift. After that Sunday dhamaka, our resolve has only been strengthened. There is no effect on us.
See, they may say what they want to say, but the fact remains that it was a big blow to opposition unity, whatever happened on Sunday. While this was happening in Maharashtra, while this NCP rift was playing out in Maharashtra, we saw in Bihar, Nitish Kumar meeting all his MPs and MLAs. There is a buzz in Bihar that JDU is staring at a split also. If that happens, we know what happens to opposition unity. These you can't see that at these events as standalone events. These are important for opposition unity. If JDU breaks down today, what will happen to Bihar's government? Will BJP again come to power in Bihar? Will Nitish Kumar be forced to join BJP? These state satraps, these like Nitish Kumar, KCR, Stalin, these people have to look at their own state interest. If tomorrow we come to know that JDU is splitting and Nitish Kumar may join BJP, then what happens to that opposition unity? These incidents are important because they will have a bearing on the opposition unity. For example, we saw in Patna, Praful Patel was with Sharad Pawar in that opposition unity meeting. He was not at the press conference, but he was in the meeting. But 10 days later, he is sitting next to Ajit Pawar. How can you say that these things will not affect the opposition unity?
Well, certainly, people on the chat box are also divided at this point in time. Many suggesting that at this stage, I can only see BJP as a ruling party. Somebody else is saying at this point, I can only see Congress as a ruling party. Sensible people will go and vote for Congress and other regional parties. Well, again, people have their own opinions. But at this point in time, what I'm more interested in is the fact that, during the Patna meeting, and again, I'm going to ask Ghulam this question first, because he was present at the Patna Parle. During the Patna meeting, Ghulam, the focus was on joint efforts for the upcoming LS Assembly, Lok Sabha elections, beg your pardon. But there was no, discussion on the intricate arrangements when it comes to seat sharing. Now, I agree that right now the photo ops might be doing the trick for a lot of people, and for a lot of people, it might be giving fodder for the BJP to, go all guns blazing on this opposition, so-called opposition unity. But at the bottom line, don't you think not talking about seat sharing is going to come and bite them in the back later?
Totally. I agree. See, I agree with the fact that optics matters in politics. Photo ops is important. It will have an impact. But that is not the only thing that matters. You have to have a narrative. You have to have a strategy, pan-India strategy to fight elections. And you have to have the fact that you can't just finish a meeting and say that we are joined, we are united, we'll fight unitedly, and we'll come up with a strategy. We saw between June 23 and today's July 4, we saw 2 days ago, KC Tyagi came up with an information that the meeting has been postponed and it's happened after the monsoon session of Parliament. Next day, KC Venugopal is coming up with a tweet and giving us an information that the meeting will happen in Bangalore on 17th and 18th. So there are issues. You can't just have a meeting and not have a strategy. Unless you have a clean strategy for 2024, unless you come up with a plan that how the opposition is going to to campaign in 2024, there has to be a strategy which is to say that will opposition fight elections on issues that elections in this.
Well, it seems like we're having technical difficulties with Ghulam. We're going to quickly sort those out. I'm going to request the control room to look at that. Meanwhile, Pankaj, not breaking away from the momentum. I don't know about the momentum of the opposition, but the momentum that we've gotten going on this discussion. How successful have previous attempts been when we're looking at opposition unity? Because I'm looking at certain examples. Basically, there are a lot of viewers out there who were like me, living under a rock before for the better part of whatever transpired before 2008. For all those out there, the youngsters that are watching this live stream, how successful have previous attempts at opposition unity been? And are there lessons that can be learned for this potential alliance that we're looking at is on the cards?
Well, see, again, a third front politics or, an alternate governance other than the time that you're talking about living under the rock, only Congress was one option. And BJP at that time had not gained that much momentum. Talking about, say, politics in the 90s, politics in the early 2000s, well, that was, a phase when the country, the international landscape was also changing. Times of when Chandrasekhar was the Prime Minister. Later on, we had VP Singh, I.K. Gujral, all those names that came into being as Prime Minister, as we remember, had a very short stint. And earlier in the 1970s also, when Morarji Desai government came into power in 1977, that was the time, the stint was once again short-lived. Now, having said that, Kabir, the question here is, will the opposition unity endure? That is something which needs to be looked at. Also, talking about the chances, the seat sharing talks that Ghulam and you were discussing, I would rather say, Kabir, that it is too early as of now to discuss the seat sharing part. And also, trust me, there is not everything that the journalists would know. These meetings that happen in Patna happen in closed doors. The press conference happened, obviously, for the media. There are lots of things that are being discussed. I'm sure the kind of politicians it has, just thinking out loud, I believe those parts would have also come into picture. Now, talking about the reflection, talking about the kind of impact this is having. I mean, if you just refer to morning newspapers, Kabir, today, last evening only, Tejasvi Yadav, Lalu Prasad and Rabri Devi have been named accused in land for jobs scam in Bihar. Now, some newspapers, interestingly, have made the headlines only for Tejasvi Yadav. You know why? Because the face is there, Tejasvi's face. Tejasvi is one of the guys who is also party to this opposition unity, and as far as Bihar is concerned. The curious question is, and I want Ghulam's attention here, that why, despite leaving the BJP, Nitish Kumar hasn't faced any sort of flack or questioning from any probe agencies, like is the custom. If you leave the BJP, as we have seen.
I mean, that's the pattern so far.
That's the pattern. So, Paltu Ram, as it is said, or the glue, the lens in which he is being seen as of now, has so far remained, away from all these raids and everything. And that actually opens up the question whether Nitish Kumar could find a way back into the BJP fold. And if tables turn, if things work or don't work, this is the fix, this is the glue that needs to be actually looked at. Ghulam, your take on that, if I'm wrong here.
I agree with you. It is not, surprising aspect of the fact that Nitish has not faced any raids from ED or any central agency. Fact of the matter is BJP doesn't have any tall leader in Bihar. If BJP wants to form a government in Bihar, it has to, RJD will never ally with BJP. RJD has never done that. But Nitish Kumar has been doing that. He is chief minister 8 times, which is a record of sorts. BJP would come, as I was mentioning earlier, there are reports that JDU is facing a split. Nitish Kumar is meeting all his MPs and MLAs one-on-one in Patna and at his official residence. If Nitish Kumar, if BJP finds Nitish Kumar BJP in fact finds Nitish Kumar a person who is able for them. They might need him any day to be in the government because they don't have any leader. Sushil Modi is one of the leaders, but he has been shunted to Delhi. He is a Rajya Sabha member now. Apart from Sushil Modi, who was deputy chief minister in the last government, obviously, but there is no other leader that BJP can rely on. So, for keeping that thing in mind, BJP will need Nitish Kumar whenever it needs him to be in the government. So that is one aspect. That is the important aspect that I wanted to highlight. That why Nitish Kumar has not faced any of these things. Because if Nitish Kumar is not there for now, BJP is relevant.
Well, certainly, you know what, gentlemen, we've had a lot of conversation. Pankaj and Ghulam, you made some real pertinent points. And are there underlying ideological, tussles going on between these opposition parties? Well, yes, there are. Are there policy differences between what's happening in Bihar and what's happening down in Delhi? Yes, there are going to be policy differences. How will they navigate these differences is again anybody's guess right now. But I'm asking the both of you. We've had subjective conversations, but in terms of objectivity, do you think this is just a mere mirage and not a reality? Can you answer this to me in a yes or no? Is it even possible right now?
Well, I wouldn't, so far, I wouldn't call it a mirage. Effort is being put in. Whether it becomes reality or not, that obviously, I think the proof of the pudding is in eating. That's what is being said. So, come 2024, we will see how it becomes, how it transpires. But as of now, as I said, they are checking all the boxes.
All right.
And it's not a mirage.
All right. All the boxes being checked. When I'm asking Pankaj, Ghulam, what's your take on it? Is it a mirage? Is it a reality? Can you come up to a yes or no?
I think for now it is a right step in the right direction. But as I would agree with Pankaj, it remains to be seen how it plays out, because we just had 10 days after the Patna meeting. We saw what happened in Maharashtra. We saw on the day of the meeting with Aam Aadmi Party. So I think there are fissures, there are challenges. It all depends on how the opposition, addresses these challenges.
Well, all eyes on the 17th and the 18th of July, isn't it, Ghulam? When the next opposition meet is going to take place. The Congress party says it is very much confident. It's trying to showcase itself as the fulcrum of this opposition unity. K.C. Venugopal has already said that our resolve has only been strengthened after this the NCP episode. And Sharad Pawar, who's been part of these meetings, K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Akhilesh Yadav, Mamta Banerjee, M.K. Stalin, Aam Aadmi Party in Congress is something that we'll again have to look at. It's getting very interesting. It's getting exciting ahead of 2024. Obviously, I must say that. But how will the opposition navigate these ideological and policy differences is something that we'll have to wait and watch out for.
Yes, I'll quickly add here. We often talk about how the opposition would, stitch this alliance together. Yes, there are so many loose ends. I mean, I'm not, as of now, hedging my bets on any party as of now. Trust me, if 2024, let's reach there, as I said. But why this time it is important? Because the kind of, public support, public memory is a totally different concept altogether. It applies on the BJP also, it applies on Congress, it applies on Aam Aadmi Party and everything. But the thing is, if this alliance could actually, by the end of this year, not even in 2024, actually come up with a unified stand on not just on the elections, but on certain issues, like a triple talaq bill, for that matter, like whatever has come.
I agree
this
with you.
Delhi ordinance is once again a key issue, which Congress is still, dilly-dallying and weighing in its options. But yes, there has to be, if there is something that has gone wrong, a unified voice should come out so that people can start identifying.
A unified voice. It will also depend on who takes heed. In what situation, who's going to be the first person to bow down, who's going to be the one extending that olive branch. It will all come down to that. A lot of politics, and more than politics, a lot of ego and prestige issues at play over here as well. On that note, many thanks, Pankaj, for joining us. Ghulam, it's a wonderful documentary. Again, imploring all the audience and everybody in the live stream to check out whatever's, whatever we didn't show you in that particular snippet, because important and pertinent questions have been asked. Who's going to be the bridegroom here? Who's going to be the doula? Who's going to be the barati? Or Abdullah ki shadi mein, kya begani shadi mein Abdullah Diwana is going to be an idiom that is going to be tossed when headlines make their way after 2024. Well, we'll have to wait and find out. That's all the time we have for you. Ghulam, Pankaj, awesome to have you here in the studio. We're leaving you with a snippet of that documentary. Check it out. It's called Photo Op ? I really love the name. I really love the viewfinder template that's been used in the documentary. A lot of layered messages in there. And that's what you get when you download News 9 Plus's application. It's the world's first OTT application. Do check it out for other incisive analysis and cutting edge documentaries as well. Take a look at this snippet. That's all the time we have for you. Thanks for watching.
एक साथ मिलकर हम बीजेपी को हराने जा रहे हैं।
हम लोग मिलकर के चलेंगे और देश के हित में है।
We are united. We will fight unitedly.
इस देश को बचाने के लिए, देश की एकता, अखंडता कायम रखने के लिए हम एक साथ आए हैं।
हमारी कोशिश यही रहेगी कि हम गांधी के मुल्क को गोडसे का मुल्क बनने नहीं देंगे।
In a blow to the opposition unity, the BJP has split open Sharad Pawar's NCP in Maharashtra, with Ajit Pawar and 8 other leaders joining the NDA government. The rift in NCP will weaken the Maha Vikas Aghadi. With 48 Lok Sabha seats, Maharashtra is the most crucial state after UP for both the BJP and the opposition. The opposition, which has been in disarray, is making frantic attempts to foster unity. 32 leaders from 15 political parties met in Patna on June 23rd. Their objective? Put up a united fight against BJP, led by PM Narendra Modi in 2024.
This is the first positive step where these parties met. I think there are a couple of messages from this meeting. The first message is very clear that 2024 election is going to be between two alliances. A BJP-led alliance on the one side and perhaps an alliance where Congress is going to be the central player of that alliance. The idea of a third front without Congress, without BJP is not going to sail in this election.
As the BJP hammers home again and again that politics is not about arithmetic alone, it has need for chemistry. I think it also needs a little bit of physics, but at the end of the day, the maths that you do, just very rough ball figure maths that you do, will show clearly that there isn't any state in which BJP is gaining. They will lose everywhere because they went very high in the previous election, so they have to now drop. And for other reasons, they are going down in many states.
There have been earlier attempts to forge an alliance after 2014 election results. Before 2019, Mamta Banerjee hosted a rally in Kolkata. This rally was attended by at least 20 leaders from different opposition parties. But there was no impact. The BJP won 2019 elections hands down. Between the 1970s and the 1990s, all opposition unity efforts were short-lived. Prime ministerial stints of opposition front governments lasted less than 2 years on an average.
Holding hands together is not opposition unity. The opposition needs organic unity, whereby, which is a far more difficult task, to sit on the drawing board and agree that each party will strengthen and fight unitedly with that party which is strongest in its own region, so as to put up, wherever possible, a joint opposition to the BJP. I don't think the opposition is anywhere close to it now.
पटना में एक फोटो सेशन चल रहा है, सारे विपक्ष के नेता एक मंच पर इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं और संदेश देना चाहते हैं कि हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी को, एनडीए को और मोदी जी को चैलेंज करेंगे.
Well, I thought Amit Shah should worry about photo sessions of his boss, the Prime Minister. I think he spends more time in photo sessions and handshakes and hugs and kisses, etc., than any of these leaders have done. They've just taken a very, very sober, strong view. There were no trumpets there and there were no drum beats, etc., but they have taken a very, very sober, very considered, very thoughtful approach to the problems of the country today.
एक और नरेंद्र मोदी अमेरिकी संसद को संबोधित कर रहे हैं और दूसरी ओर 17-18 दल पटना में इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं मोदी हटाओ देश बचाओ. तो इसलिए देश की जनता देख रही है, एक और नरेंद्र मोदी को देख रही है और दूसरी ओर इन दलों को देख रही है कि ये दल केवल अपने परिवार की चिंता करते हैं जबकि नरेंद्र मोदी देश की चिंता करते हैं.
ये विपक्षी दलों की इन हरकतों से उनकी घबराहट से साफ है कि देश की जनता ने 2024 के चुनाव में भाजपा को वापस लाने का मन बना लिया है.
So they lack a narrative, they lack a face, they lack an organizational network on the ground, and they lack a pan-Indian joint strategy. Given this, I think the BJP, as it seems now, has an advantage for 2024.
There is a conundrum. First is whether they should even think of a leader. Then the second question is who should be the leader. The reason is, the first question is important because once you put up a face, then BJP will try to make that election presidential. Basically meaning that here is a charismatic, popular leader who has been 10 years of Prime Minister, CM, who's in front of him, right? And so then the context will become between Narendra Modi and say Rahul Gandhi, between Narendra Modi and say Nitish Kumar, whichever name you prop up.
Gautam Adani, one of the richest men in the world, or a business honcho accused of manipulating the market?
अदानी जी 609 नंबर से दूसरे नंबर तक कैसे पहुंचे? सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आपका अदानी जी से रिश्ता क्या है?
He has given the space, the railways, the airport, which he has no experience also. So the country's interest has been compromised.
Government has been very clearly supporting few industrial groups, including Adani's industrial group.
Target Adani, streaming now. ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boom. Streaming now.
It took just 80 seconds. An earthquake demolished buildings, killing 51,000 persons in Turkey and Syria.
Clearly, a lot of these buildings were not up to standard.
More than 100 arrest warrants have been issued in connection with unsafe buildings.
How well buildings protected residents played a significant role in lives saved and lost.
Earthquakes do not kill the people. Buildings do.
Developing story coming out of Afghanistan now. Magnitude 6.5 earthquake has hit the nation. Strong tremors were felt as far away as Pakistan and parts of India, including the capital, New Delhi.
Shoddily constructed buildings are endangering lives of thousands of people across Delhi NCR. In the last 3 years, the National Capital Region felt tremors 26 times. Is your home really safe from a quake?
झटके आए थे अभी पंखे हिल रहे थे बहुत तेज।
हम अपनी गाड़ी चला रहे थे तो गाड़ी थोड़ी सी कांप गई थी।
तो काफी देर तक मतलब झटके फील हुए रुक के।
There are two plates. That is, one is Indian plates and another is a Eurasian plate. Indian plate is subducting into the Eurasian plate at a constant rate, and as a result, there is a constant rise in Himalayas at a rate of around 47 mm per year. As a result, there is a huge accumulation of energy in the and which is coming out in the form of an earthquake. Entire Indian Himalayan ridge is in seismic zone 4 and 5, including Delhi.
Most of the buildings in Turkey were non-engineered. Seismic code compliances were not followed. Earthquake resistant features which are mandatory were clearly missing. Hence, more than the quake, it is shaddily constructed buildings which claimed so many lives. Turkey